Thank you so much. Yes, there's a bit of a story to Tom coming because when Anna invited me to come to the Compassion training day yesterday, which was a fantastic day, some lovely, wonderful people, and I was going to bring somebody from our new church, and then she couldn't come because of work. Thank you so much. Oh, I feel exposed. No, that's plenty. Plenty, yes. I've had too many Danish pastries. You don't want to... Anyway. And so I said to Tom, I wonder who could come with me. And he sat there and looked at me, and I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I perhaps could come. And I was like, I'm not sure, Tom, no. And then eventually he looked, he went, I'll carry your bags, I'll buy you coffee. And I went, okay, you can come. But you have to behave. You have to behave. And I'm not sure he's quite done that. But anyway. But I have to say, Tom comes here quite a lot, and he absolutely loves it. And whenever he comes home, he's always just like, I've had such a wonderful time. And he always comes back positive, full of energy. And he absolutely loves it. I think this is my third visit here. And the more I come, the more I just feel at home. And I feel like if our church plant goes wrong, I'm going to ask Fleming and Anna if I could be on the welcome team or something like that. I would love it. I could, Anyway, so I'm Helen. Tom and I have been married for 32 years. It's pretty good going, isn't it? And we have 4 daughters who are all grown up now, 3 grandchildren, and then we fostered for a while and had 17 young people come through our home. So we've always lived a kind of crazy life, and have loved it, been full of adventures. So as Anna said, we were actually part of Derwent Vineyard, which is a vineyard in Nottingham, a large church. We were there for 21 years. And who'd have thought at our old age that God would stir the pot, and we left there 6 months ago, is it? Maybe a bit more than that, and have planted our own church, which is another whole story and adventure for us. So it's never too late. It's never too late. Never. We moved house a few weeks ago, and it's just been a roller coaster adventure, really. But as I was sitting in my new little study, I managed to get Tom into the garage. So he's going to have a study in the garage, and I've got my own little room. And I was just sitting there, just praying about coming here this weekend and what God maybe wanted to say through me. And I was just drawn to a canvas I had done, a picture which is on my study wall. And I don't usually have pictures done of myself. It is the back of me. But it was a very profound moment. I'll show it you shortly. But last year, we had the privilege of going to Yosemite. I don't know, has anyone been in LA? I mean, it's just the most incredibly beautiful place, isn't it? I mean, the views, they're just stunning. It's really hard to put into words. And every day we were just staying just outside in a little village, and we would drive in and then choose another walk to do. And this particular day, as usual, we got up, we had our hour's drive into the park, and we pulled up to the car park, and with hundreds of others, it was coach loads were arriving, everybody with their cameras to get to this viewpoint. And then we kind of got there and had a look, and it was incredible. Rivers and waterfalls and mountains, and it just honestly took your breath away. And it was great. And then I remember we knew we had a choice. Somebody said, if you go about 3 hours up vertically, you will get an even better view. And it's perhaps worth thinking about. And to be honest, we weren't sure because it's quite nice to be near the coffee shops, the coffee and cake, and the toilets were nearby, and I've kind of gone past the age of squatting in bushes, and never mind against a rock side. So I was thinking, maybe it'd be quite nice just to drink coffee and eat cake and enjoy this wonderful view, and it was tempting. If we took this walk, we couldn't take much with us, and I'm the sort of person, I have my little backpack with my nuts and my anti-bac, for my hands, and, my scarf, and all my little bits and bobs. I like to have things close to me. And so I thought, no, we literally could just take a bottle of water, that would be it. Anyway, also hoping that we had trainers on, and we didn't know how steep this was going to be. But we made the choice, we decided, let's go for it, it'll be fun. And so off we went. We embarked on this climb, and it was really tough. It was a head down, get on, one foot in front of the other kind of climb. We were hot. We got breathless at times, we got thirsty, we had to ration our water. And every now and again, we'd just stop and just look at how far we'd come and where we were heading and just looking at the scenery as we went. As we were going up, we were sprayed by these waterfalls as the wind blew. So we were freezing and wet through 1 minute and then boiling hot the next. And then, we'd encourage each other, let's keep going, we're nearly there. Or we thought we were nearly there, an hour later, still going. But eventually, we get to the top. And it's so worth it. The view was absolutely incredible. And if you show the picture, now if you've got it, oh, no picture. Oh, what a shame. Anyway, it will come. Right, I want you to imagine now. So I'm standing on this kind of edge of this cliff top, and just incredible waterfalls just pouring down in front of me. And then this huge rainbow. And I remember there it is. That's impressive, isn't it? And you can only see part of it in the picture. But I remember I had one of those moments of just thinking, oh my goodness, this is beyond my imagination. I felt so exhilarated. I felt so inspired. I just felt alive in that moment, in this incredible natural beauty. The view we got, that moment was worth every step, every struggle, every moment of feeling exhausted, every moment of feeling like, why did we bother? And for me, at that moment, it was quite a spiritual moment as well. And I just felt I encountered Jesus and the wonder of God's creation in a new way. And I was thinking, so often we keep God in this little world we live in our everyday, but it was a moment of thinking, God, you really are awesome. You are incredible. I could almost just feel the power of his presence in that place. And for us at that time, we were making some big decisions, shall we leave Trent? Is God calling us to something different? It was a scary thought because so much good was going on. Were we going to step out? And so it was one of those moments that I just said yes. I didn't know what I was saying yes to, but it's one of those moments I said, you know what, Lord? Yes. I say yes to you afresh, yes to following you, yes to anything you ask of me. And as I relived this memory, just sitting, looking at that picture, I would never have known or had any idea how many parallels to my own journey that journey up that mountain would take that day. But also I felt like it was something for all of us, even today, as a community here in Copenhagen. And I felt like God wanted to say, there's an invitation to more. And are we up for it? Are we up for it? I tell you, I get so excited when I think about it. I think, yes, I am so up for it, even though I don't fully understand what that might look like. But, in one sense, God is already more than enough. But, there comes a point when we have to almost embrace what God has done for us, embrace what he offers us, and receive it in actually moving forward. And it is an invitation to adventure, to passionately pursue him, to risk it all if that's what is required. To embrace all that he calls us to live and love like Jesus, to surrender everything that might hold us back, to really grow in just worshipping him like we did, earlier on, just in abandonment. The songs we sing are just, we see how big God is, the way we kind of, in those songs. And also, the call to more is to reach out to others, again, whatever the cost. It really is, if we want it to be, a cause to live for and a cause to die for. It was really interesting when the whole 9/11 thing happened in the States all those years ago. And I remember a lot of young people converted to Islam. And the reason why they were drawn to the passion of those people that would do such a horrific act in that case, they thought, well, they obviously are passionate about what they believe. And sometimes, how passionate are we that we see following Jesus as a cause to live for and to die for? As we celebrated the Lord's Supper, God has given us everything by sending his one and only Son, Jesus. And he paid the ultimate price. He died on a cross. And then he rose from the dead. He's conquered death. And he did that so we could have a life-changing relationship with him that impacts our every day. I came to faith as a young child. And, in many ways, maybe it was easier for me because my family brought me up in that way. But I had a personal encounter with Jesus at a young age. And I look back at my life and I would not change a thing. Has it been easy? Have I always got it right? Have I had to resolve things in my life and face difficulties? Yes. But I would not change a thing. That personal, everyday relationship with Jesus is just the best way I have found to live out my life. The more is for us to discover. And what I love about following Jesus is that he won't force himself on us. We often make up the rules and the rituals that we feel we've got to hold on to make us feel better. But he is like, come as you are. You have free will, you have free choice. And I think particularly now with the younger generation coming through, one of the things I really feel passionate about is people learning to follow Jesus in a way that isn't about the rules and regulations, but people make decisions for themselves. So often in churches we can be told what to believe and told what to do. And then suddenly I found when I was 48, I began to think for myself, and that's quite old to start doing that. So do it while you're young, and you're all young in here. Really grapple with the issues and think and work it out. So are we up for being a people that truly want to seek God and opening ourselves up to all he has for us? And often it comes down to everyday decisions of saying yes. It's like there's sort of small steps in the same direction. It may be costly, it may be tough. It may mean rethinking, unlearning and rediscovering and letting go. Yesterday when we had the Day of Compassion, I just was talking about Jesus calling his first disciples and what it means to follow Jesus afresh, and that all of us are called. And I love who Jesus called because it was always those that one would least expect and who felt least qualified to ever find favour with Jesus or be called to follow him. And so, first of all, we can all be encouraged. We're all asked to go on this adventure with Jesus. He calls all of us. But it reminded me a verse I read yesterday, a couple of verses from Matthew, when Jesus called the two brothers Simon, later called Peter, and Andrew. And they were fishing, throwing their nets into the lake, and it was their regular work. But Jesus said to them, "Come with me. I will make a new fisherman out of you. I will show you how to catch men and women instead." But then he goes on to say, again in Matthew, he says, "Anyone who intends to come with me has to let me lead. You're not in the driver's seat. I am. Don't run from suffering. Embrace it. Follow me and I'll show you how." Self-help is no help at all. Self-sacrifice is the way. My way to finding yourself, your true self. What kind of deal is it to get everything you want but lose yourself? What could you ever trade your soul for? I was thinking about some lyrics of a song, a beautiful song, which is from Psalm 24, where David is encouraging the people to seek the presence of God. And it's these words. It says, "Can I ascend the hill of the Lord? Can I stand in that holy place? Time to approach the glory of my God, to come towards, to seek your face. Purify my heart, purify my hands, for I know it's on holy ground I stand. I'm coming up the mountain, Lord. I'm seeking you and you alone. I know that I will be transformed, my heart unveiled before you. I'm longing for your presence, Lord. I will come." And I was thinking, as we go on this adventure, this journey to seek the more, it always starts with a decision, with a choice. And I don't know about you, it's so often the choices and decisions we make, it's a battle in our heads, isn't it? And it's often that's where it starts. Should I do this? What happens with this? I don't know how it's going to work out. What will people think? All of that. And then, of course, we have to take practical steps. And often, as we're following Jesus, it's not always knowing the outcome that's going to be. And then on our journey, we have to include others. We have to take people with us. Going back to that day in Yosemite, going up that mountain, we did have a choice. We didn't have to leave. We could stay on that beautiful view with my coffee and cake and my nice toilets, and it would have been fine. Hundreds of people did, and it's fine. It's great. And I would say a lot of people in life, that's fine. We stay as we are. It's okay. But we do have a choice. And as I say, it can be the hardest thing. Wherever you're at, for some of you, you may think, I've been coming here for a while, people talk about Jesus, and I'm interested, and I'm finding out more and getting more details. But at some point, have you got the courage to say, I'm going to say yes, and just see what happens? Some of us here may be convicted by behaviours. You may be in relationships, which are going to require at some point a choice. In work, in life, in every day, wherever we're at. And sometimes we think, well, if someone would just tell me, or we procrastinate, or just, I'll just put that off, I'll put that off. It's a scary choice sometimes, and as we journey with Jesus, it's going to take faith and risk. But I can promise you, you won't regret it. You know, in Matthew 7, it says, enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Well, I honestly want to be one of the few. You know, culture and society, it offers us this wide path, doesn't it? Of, you know, wealth, get happy, get rich quick, have what you want and have it now, find yourself, and it's all about me and what I need and all of that. And that's what it offers, and it is really tempting. You know, we self-medicate on anything to make us feel better because we don't want to feel bad or don't want to maybe face some of the choices we need to make. You know, when we went up that mountain in Yosemite, it was a narrow, hard path. But there's something really exhilarating about it as well. You know, last year when we had to make the choice, people often sort of said to us in hindsight, well, it was easy for you, God really spoke. But actually for us, it wasn't quite like that. We had been in a situation for 21 years, me from the age of 30. I brought up my children in our beautiful house in our little town. We'd had jobs, safe, secure jobs. We had seen some amazing things. And it was a massive decision to leave what we knew and what we felt comfortable to go on that journey. And at the end of the day, we had to come to a point of making that choice. But, you know, as we make these choices, if only it was just like a flash of lightning or something, but the truth is when we make these choices, it's not glamorous, is it? It's usually in the everyday of getting up in the morning and being a bit grumpy and what should I do about this and I can't decide and I'm tempted by that. Oh, I don't want to say no. You know, I don't want to, you know, I want to make a good choice, but I can't because my feelings are this or whatever it is. It is in the everyday, behind closed doors, at work, at home, in our relationships, in our choices, facing temptations. But, you know, I want to encourage us that, you know, I look back often in my own life, and it's in those places where I've grown, where I've been trained and equipped and built character, where I've got stronger, learnt to love, be more patient, and you know, built in endurance. You know, one of the things I talked about, but yesterday we fostered young people for 10 years. We had 17 through our home, and I remember like the glamorous thing of making the choice to do it. And it was really exciting. And we were going to be like the Waltons. I don't know if you know the Waltons. No, you probably don't. Anyway, it was this wonderful family, TV family that were just, everything was wonderful. And I felt quite pleased with ourselves. We were doing this thing. But as the children started coming, behind closed doors, it was really hard. And it's like, it was in that place that I learned to be a better foster carer. It wasn't going through the training. It wasn't even once I'd made the choice. It was living it behind closed doors, making good choices, growing in patience and endurance and all that kind of thing. When, you know, we've got young people this close to my face telling me to go away, not so polite terms, you know, and threatening to hit us. Or I had a 16-year-old girl that would have tantrums every day and like a 3-year-old. And it was like, I can't do this, I can't do this. But it was in that place that I grew and was challenged. So, you know, right now, what is your choice? What are your choices? What practical steps do you have to make? When we made the choice last year, there then came a point, it was like jumping off a cliff. And I'm like, do I really trust God? And I actually thought, I'm not sure I do. if I'm really, really honest. But I'm going to jump anyway, because actually, what have I got to lose? And we did. But then we had to physically resign from our jobs, apply for new jobs. We had to then put a house on the market, and so it journeyed. And one thing I've learned is that the invitation to more is often about less. You know, when we went up that mountain to get to the top to see that amazing view, we had to be quite decisive in what we were going to take with us. And basically, we carried a bottle of water. And that was the most important thing to keep us hydrated. You know, this last year, it has all been about, for me, letting go. And I really didn't expect it, because I thought it was going to all be about planting a church. And God has called us, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm sure it is, and it has been in many ways. But actually, it was all about God showing me I needed less of what I'd become to depend on, rely on, for actually to see the more of him. And honestly, this year, I feel like I've become a follower of Jesus when I've probably been a fan for years, but I now feel I really am a follower. And it was interesting what Jesus had to challenge me on. And I allowed him, because I was like, you know what, I've jumped off the cliff. I'm just free falling, and it feels good. You know, and it was things like pride, control. I realised I'm the biggest control freak. Status, familiarity, security, financial security. You know, we were in a position when we'd got lots of things going, and we were leading things and a big staff team, and who cares all that stuff, you know? But I realised it's who we're becoming on the journey, not often what we achieve. And again, society is so good at telling us and celebrating what people do rather than who we are. It was really interesting, so I'm digressing slightly, but when we actually left Trent after all those years, and the staff gathered to celebrate, you know, memories of us. And I honestly thought, like, oh yeah, they're going to say, you know, what great leaders we were, and how we set up this and did this, and whatever it was, and our influence in the city, whatever it was. But they didn't. They said, we love the way you welcomed us into your home. I love the way you gave me that jumper that I liked, because I said I liked it, and you took it off and gave it me. Whatever it was all about who we were, not what we did. And I think that's a really good lesson as we kind of grow up. Sorry, I was going back to letting go. Oh, yeah, letting go of, so much I've had to let go of. And then the final thing for me was when we left our house, and this was like the last battle. I was like, God, you even want to take my house and my home from me? And I felt like God said, yeah, you've got pride and status in that as well, Helen. You know, and I was like, okay, have it. And anyway, I then thought, right, I'm going big. So I started getting rid of everything. I'm like having house sales. I'm giving stuff away. I'm like filling boxes and going to the tip. And then as I'm doing that, Tom's following me around, and like things I've thrown away, I then found again, because Tom had put them back in the house. I'm like, no, it's got to go. And he went, no, I'm sure I can use that again. I went, no, it's going. Everything's going. And I tell you, it is liberating. Decluttering is the way forward. And we moved to our new little, cube. I call it the cube, but a little modern house. But do you know what? I feel free. I feel completely free, which makes me feel quite dangerous as well. So it's very exciting. Anyway, nothing compares to it. You know, travel light in life. I tell you, travel light. But I then read this little verse in 1 Timothy 6, and it's really inspired me. And it says, a devout life does bring wealth, but it's the rich simplicity of being ourselves before God. And I'm like, I never would expect to see rich and simplicity and wealth in the same sentence. The rich simplicity of being ourselves. And I look back over my 52 years, and I think I've spent so much time trying to be for somebody else, trying to get it right. You know, when I grew up in church, it was all about rules and regulations, and I'm not saying some of those things aren't good, but it's like, what does it mean for me to bring myself, for us to bring ourselves? The simplicity, the rich simplicity of bringing ourselves before God. Our questions, our weaknesses, our emotions, anger, fear, whatever it might be. Our successes, our uncertainties, our fear. It's so liberating. Being ourselves in a culture where so many things and so many times we're told who ourselves is, that we end up confused who we are. You know, pressure to perform, pressure to succeed, pressure to be happy, pressure to be perfect, all those things at all costs. I read a great little quote from somebody called Anna Quinlan, and she said this: the thing that is really hard and really amazing is giving up on being perfect and beginning the work of becoming yourself. And that is the invitation to more. It will take perseverance, there's no doubt about that. You know, when we were going up that mountain, there was times I thought, I just want to go back. I'm too hot. I want the toilet, you know, whatever it was. I want a coffee. You know, the elements will come against us because this is countercultural living. It's the narrow path that only a few manage to take. It's about struggle. You know, everyday life, disappointments. You know, again, at the life stage I'm realizing life is about transitions and losses and setbacks. That is what life is. So let's embrace it and do it well. You know, I think it was Brené Brown that said, we were born for struggle. And so often we spend our whole time fighting against not struggling. We're born for struggle. And then we have to take others with us. You know, as we go on this journey for the more, to follow Jesus, there'll be some of us that are just pioneers in that, and we need to take people with us. Or some of us here need to follow people that we think they're ahead of us. Let me respect them and what they do, and let me follow them. I like what I see. You know, it's an old African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. You know, when I came back down from my mountaintop experience and I came down to the hundreds of people at the viewpoint they were at, I honestly wanted to get a megaphone and say, don't stay here, don't settle for second best, get up the mountain, it's amazing up there, I'll take you if you want, I'll go again, you know, come with me, come. Which I didn't do, obviously, because that would be weird. But you know, it's like we have to invite people. When we experience them more, we have to say, come with us. It's an exciting place to be. And I think this is where the church community is so important, that we need to encourage each other, spur each other on. We need to call greatness out of each other. And we have enough out there that tells us we get it wrong and criticize us. And, you know, we need to be a community that really does build relationships and trust, that we can inspire one another. And if we do have to critique each other or challenge each other, it's out of genuine love, trust, and relationship. But we need encouragement. We really do, more than we sometimes realise. Totally lost my place, but hey. Yeah, so we must invite others, to include them and inspire them on that journey. Of discovering the more of Jesus and what it means to follow him and his purpose and his plans, which he has for each and every one of us. You know, going back to what I was saying about those first disciples, you may sit here and think, yeah, that's fine for them, but me, I'm not, you know, I'm messed up, I do this, I've got these habits. No, you are more qualified. The more of a mess you feel you are more qualified. You are the one that if Jesus was physically here, he'd say, I'm choosing you, I'm choosing you. It's just that we live in a culture that still celebrates something different to what Jesus did. So let's see potential in people that we may think don't have it, because that's often where we need to start. So yeah, it starts with a choice. And then we have to take physical action. It's worked out in the everyday, ordinary of our lives. Take perseverance, and we have to include others on this journey. So what choices right now do we want to make, or in the process of making? And what practical steps do we need to take that maybe we've been procrastinating on or avoiding for fear or whatever it is? What do we need to let go of? And who is it that we need to be investing time in? Or who is it that we need to go to and say, please, can I follow you? Can I follow you on your journey? I like what I see. And as we do that, you know, imagine how that might impact each of us as individuals, in our homes, in our families, and in our work. And I just want to encourage us as I finish, is that really it's worth it. It is so, so worth it. The view is amazing. And just encourage you to take that journey.